For other conditions, will be aggravated by this adventure. Expectant mothers should not ride. Once on board your safari transport, please remain seated with your hands, arms, feet and legs inside, and remember to watch your children.
I went live early.
Your transport will be arriving shortly. Asante Sana. Enjoy your adventure at Kilimanjaro Safari.
That ain't good. That is not good. I went live early. Alright, here we go. Just give it a second.
Jumbo, everyone, and welcome to Kilimanjaro Safari. Before you begin your trip, you should know that the unpaved roads of the Harambe White Islands may experience bumps and certain jolts on your safari.
Welcome on board, everyone. Deck parties, you're gonna step up to the yellow line.
If your whole party can't fit on the shop, there's one right behind you that will take you. If your whole party cannot fit.
If your whole party doesn't fit, you'll be on the next truck.
Hello, Submit. Welcome to the stream.
Y'all all together? Okay, y'all are gonna be on the next truck.
Alrighty, my friends. To the right, watch those hands off, like the deep those doors are gonna close.
I'm going on a safari.
That means
I'm going on a safari.
We'd like to use here on Harambe's Twin Day, which means let's go. Jumbo, everyone. My name is Destiny, and I will be your safari guide on our journey through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. A few safety reminders before we get out there. We'd like to remind everyone to please remain seated. It does get pretty bumpy out there, and I am really driving this truck. Keep those hands, arms, legs, and feet to the truck at all times. There's a spotting guide up above you. I'll help you spot some of the animals you might see here today on the reserve. Alrighty, friends, we're moving on into the little Aturi forest, which is home to animals that are more shy and reclusive. They tend to use their unique, colorful markings to blend into their surroundings. So you might notice some of them hiding behind the trees here in the forest. Like I said, they're really good at camouflage, so if I don't point one out, just let me know. But firstly, to the right is the okapi. These okapi, very shy and reclusive. They're often thought of as mythical creatures because they were so hard to find here in the forest. They weren't actually discovered by the West until 1901 for that reason. Those okapi, also relatives to the giraffe. They have prehensile tongues that they use to grab leaves that are in those trees. And to the left, the reddish-brown colored antelopes. Those are bongos. They're known as the ghosts of the forest because they too are very shy and reclusive. Those black and white birds that you might have noticed that were a bit further back, those are saddle-billed storks. Forgot to mention them. They're known for their black and yellow saddle bill. And their wingspan, it gets pretty long, around 9 feet, in case you saw those birds. Gonna go back to the bongos though. Both male and female bongo have horns. They kind of twist backwards, helps them get through the brush of the forest. Those horns are reach around 32 to 36 inches in length, like many of the antelopes here on the reserve. As those male bongos get older, they will develop a darker reddish brown color to their coats. Here to the left, on the rock wall, there's a black rhino. Both black and white rhinos are that gray color, but the black rhino has a prehensile triangular shaped upper lip, almost act like a finger to help them grab onto the leaves that they eat.
16 people, wow.
Whereas the white rhino, they have a flatter upper lip. Now those black rhinos, they are browsers, whereas the white rhino, they are grazers. Also, typically that black rhino is going to be a tad a bit smaller than the white rhino, because white rhinos are the largest species of rhino. Those black rhinos, they only weigh 3,000 pounds. Here to the left, those are greater kudu. Those are females, only the males have horns. They're also the tallest forest antelope, reaching at about 5 feet at the shoulder. Those greater kudu, lighter tan fur coat color, actually helps them blend in with the sun rays that will peek in through those bushes. So they're kind of like little rays of sunshine. Alrighty, friends, we're going to leave the forest, move on to the Sapi River, which is home to aquatic animals that'll spend most of their day in the water cooling off. So hopefully we'll be able to see some friends floating around as we venture on through. But like I mentioned before, if I don't point one out, just let me know. Sometimes they're floating deep in that water. Firstly, though, to the right above water, you'll notice some pink-backed pelicans. Oh, you see hippos? Sweet. Sweet. Make sure we do stay seated though. My little ones in the front, stay seated. Thank you. Like I said, those hippos, they'll spend most of their day in the water cooling off. They can actually spend about 8 minutes completely underneath that water to do so. Also, those pink-black pelicans that I mentioned before. Those pink-black pelicans.
23 people. Nice.
That they get during mating season. The tops of their bills as well as their facial pouches will also turn a shade of pink, so sometimes it looks like they're blushing for a crush. Those pink-back pelicans are also colonial nesters. They can nest in small groups of 20 to larger groups of up to 500. And since I talked about their bills, I'll mention the pouch underneath those pink-back pelicans' bills. Common misconception is that those pelicans keep their food in that pouch. They almost always eat their fish immediately after catching them. And they too have a pretty long wingspan similar to the storks. Their wingspan gets around 7 to 8 feet long. Speaking of eating, Nile crocodile here to the left, which get up to 16 feet in length, which is a length that a giraffe is tall. These crocodiles can also weigh up to 500 pounds. They're very fierce predators, and they have one of the strongest jaws here on the reserve. They can actually eat about half their body weight in a single feeding. That does sound pretty impressive, but usually they only eat around 1 full meal a week. And of course their main diet does consist of fish, but they can also eat larger land mammals as well. Despite them being such fierce predators, they do have a gentle side. They make excellent parents. Mother Nile crocodile, after laying her eggs, can roll around those eggs in her mouth to help induce that hatching process. She'll also protect those younger ones in her stomach from any predators once they're born. And if they ever need any extra sunlight, they'll bask in the sun on their mother's back. Speaking of sunlight, we're about to move on into the savannah. It's a bit hotter out here in the savannah. There's not as much shade, so a lot of the things here in the savannah are really well adapted to heat. Great example of adapting to heat here to the right is a large tree. It's a baobab tree. Probably see a couple more scattered throughout the savannah. That tree can actually go leafless for up to 9 months out of the year to conserve water. I'll point out a couple more animals are really well adapted.
Hello, trending traders.
But anyways,
Welcome
the
to the
savannah
stream.
is home to some of the more popular animals here on the reserve, such as those giraffes, lions, and elephants. Hopefully we'll be able to see them as
Giraffes, lions, and
drive on
elephants.
through.
Let's see if we'll see them all. Alright, nothing over here.
These
Oh,
are
wait, right
Maasai
here.
giraffe, and you can tell that they're Maasai giraffe because of the edges of their spots.
Right here's
They're a
some
bit more
giraffes.
jagged around the edges. They're also a tad bit darker than species like the reticulated. Now the reticulated have smoother edges to their spots. They're also going to be a bit more square shaped and closer together. But like I said, those are Maasai giraffe. We haven't completely come across a group of giraffes, but a group is called a tower, and there are a couple scattered throughout this portion of the savannah. We'll probably get a bit closer. In the meantime, here to the left, those are African painted dogs, just past the cave. They are the most successful land mammal hunters here on the reserve, and they're really good at hunting because they're really good at teamwork. Make sure we do stay completely seated for me in that 4th row as well. Thank you. And they're really good at hunting because they're really good at teamwork. And little ones please not have them raised up. Thank you so much. They're about 80% successful here in the savannah with catching their prey. Alrighty. Right to the left, Hartman's mountain zebras. You can tell they're Hartmans because they have that flap underneath their neck. That flap is called a dewlap, and that dewlap will aid in blood circulation, help cool them off and take heat away from their faces. Their hoofstock do have that dewlap. That's one way you can tell they're Hartman's mountain zebras. Another way you can tell they're Hartmans is that they have those white underbellies. Their stripes don't completely connect around their stomachs. Speaking of striping patterns, each of them does have a unique striping pattern similar to our fingerprints. In fact, their foal or their offspring can memorize their mother's unique striping pattern, imprints on mom, and will only feed from their mother. The gestation period for a zebra is around 1 year long. The gray antelope that's going to be here to our left, that's a wildebeest. There's one on either side of us, or both sides. They are wildebeest, and they do have another name though. It's new. Because when they vocalize, they make a new grunting noise. These wildebeest, they are very social. You often see them scattered throughout the savannah. They're actually the most densely packed herding animals, other than humans. And every year, up to 1.5 million of those wildebeest will travel 500 to 1,000 miles. The smaller antelope that are going to be on the hill to the right, those are springbok. Kind of look like s'mores. They have tan backs and white underbellies. Those springboks, they can spring 6 feet up into the air repeatedly and 13 feet forwards, reaching speeds of 50 to 60 miles per hour while doing so. That's called proging, and they often do that when they're frightened. Those springbok are also pretty important in South Africa. They're actually the national animal, so they're often used as symbols for sports teams in South Africa. It looks like we have come across that group or tower of giraffes now. Tower is very fitting for their group name because they are really tall. They get around 18 to 20 feet tall. Fully grown, they're going to be around 6 feet tall right after they're born. These Maasai giraffes, like many of the animals here in the savannah, do spend most of their day eating. They actually only sleep for around 30 minutes a day. Typically when you do find a giraffe sleeping, they're going to be sitting or standing, so they have easy access to get up and run away because there is a predator around. The very large cattle there to the right, those are Ankole cattle. They're one of the only domesticated species here on the reserve. They're also called Watusi cattle after the tribe that first domesticated them. Now those Ankole do have very long horns. Their horns do get about 6 to 8 feet long. And they might seem pretty heavy, those horns, but they're actually really light. They have a hollow honeycomb-like structure on the inside of those horns. Blood will flow through them and heat will be dispersed throughout their horns, help them cool off. That's an African elephant there to the right. We're going to get a bit closer though. Their ears kind of shaped similar to the continent of Africa.
That means we're going to see them all.
Large ears to cool.
We saw zebras and we saw giraffes. Now elephants.
Do that fanning motion, it can cool them off up to 15 degrees. Like air conditioning for them. Now it looks like road is a bit bumpy, so we might not be able to get too close because the road is closed up ahead, but we'll get close enough.
Oh wow, that's
the
actually
backside of an elephant. I'm not too sure if that's a male or a female, but typically those males, they are a bit more solitary, as they are kind of pushed out of the herd once they reach maturity. At the A-OK, they do survive just well on their own, or they'll form bachelor herds full of other males. The female elephants, they do tend to be a tad bit more social. Also take care of those younger ones. Elephants are actually a part of a matriarchy, which means it'll typically be that oldest female that will lead the herd. And they do live for pretty long, around 55 to 65 years, although some have been known to live to be up to 70 as well. I did get pretty close, so you notice their sheer size. They're actually the largest land mammal. As African elephants, they can weigh between 8,000 and 13,000 pounds, so they do eat a ton of food. They eat around 300 pounds of food a day to maintain that beautiful physique. And they are herbivores as well. Looks like we are still in elephant country. Here to the right, we're going to pass by some test marks in this red clay. Elephants will use that red clay as a nutrient. They'll eat it, and they'll also use it as a moisturizer. Those elephants, they are pachyderms, which is the Greek word for thick skin. They do have about 1 inch of skin surrounding their bodies. Despite it being so thick, it's actually very sensitive. So, along with that red clay, they'll use their long chunks to pick up sand or mud, fling out on their backs, which will act as a natural sunblock and an insect repellent. Since I did mention their trunks, I'll mention that their trunks do have to be pretty strong to be able to pick up all the food that they eat. They actually have more muscle in their trunks than we have in our entire bodies. A singular elephant trunk has around 100,000 muscles.
Actually, that'll be good. 430.
But they do have another important appendage, is their tusks. Now, both male and female elephants do have tusks. The tusks are important. They'll use them as a form of defense. They'll also use them to pick up branches that are in the way, and they'll use them to dig holes for water or food. They are often poached for that ivory that's in their tusks. Like I said, they're pretty important, those elephants. I want to see them thrive here in the savannah. One great way to help them out is by not buying products that contain ivory. You can also spread that message to friends and family so that they can continue to thrive in their natural habitats in the savannah. Out here to the left, greater flamingos, greater meaning largest species of flamingo, are also this very pale pink color. Actually, the lightest shade of pink of any species of flamingo as well. They aren't born that pale pink color. Instead, they're born a gray or a white color, will eventually develop their pink coloration after about 2 years. So if you see any gray flamingos, those are under 2 years old. We aren't really what we eat, but those flamingos, they kind of are. actually get that very pale pink color from the beta carotene in the brine shrimp, algae, and other aquatic animals that they eat. They are also filter feeders. They'll pick up rocks or sand to filter out their food and then tip their heads to one side to release that excess water. Out here to the left is a very large mud wallows. Hopefully we'll be able to see some more friends here in just a second. These animals tend to stay around mud wallows just like that one. They like to roll around in it. It's almost like a spa day for them. Let's see here if we can spot any friends here to the left. There is a cheetah up on the hill getting some shade in between those two trees. See them laying down. That left a bit higher. In between those two trees laying down, there's a cheetah. Those cheetahs, they are the fastest land mammal. They have semi-retractable claws which help them grip onto the ground below them while they're running. Now those cheetahs, they can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 3 seconds, but they're really not long-distance runners. Of course, they do quick sprints.
All right, let's see if there's any lions. See if there's any lions. This is where you can find some lions.
Male lions sitting up on these Kopi rocks. These rocks, they do make great vantage points for predators like these lions.
A lion right here.
The male, he does have that very large mane, which uses seem a bit bigger than he actually is, and that mane, it can weigh around 40 pounds. The males stay behind, protect the pride. The females would be the ones doing most of the hunting. They're one of the only big cats hunt cooperatively in their groups.
Oh, a rhino up
Here's
here.
the right white rhinos.
Like
I noticed
3
a
rhinos.
black rhino earlier. Like I mentioned before, these white rhinos have a flatter upper lip because they're grazers. They're also the largest species of rhino. These white rhinos, they can weigh between 4,000 and 5,000 pounds.
Better view of the lion.
So large, they're actually very agile. When they run, they can gallop like horses, getting all 4 feet off the ground at once. These white rhinos, they have very poor eyesight. They can only see about 100 feet in front of them, which makes them pretty vulnerable to poachers. They don't have any natural predators out there in the wild, but they are often poached for a thing called keratin that's in their horns. We actually have keratin in our hair and as well as in our fingernails, so there's really no need to poach it for something they already grow. Also to the left, warthogs, relatives to the domestic pig. They'll use their tusks, their snout, as well as their toes to build those burrows. They are very territorial of them, so you often find them backed into those burrows with their tusks facing outwards to warn other
Oh, some more rhinos.
Warthogs, they're really good at recycling. They actually borrow burrows from other burrowing animals, and they do prefer aardvark, so if a worm can recycle, so could we.
Right up in front of us, there's some rhinos as well.
That truck there to the right. That's an ostrich. See if it can peek out a little bit more. I did notice them in between the truck there. You can see through the window.
Oh, you can't see on video.
Those ostriches, they are the largest bird. Bit hard to see them.
There was an ostrich. There was an
Females are
ostrich.
mousy brown, grayish color. Males are darker black color with white tips to their wings, and they don't actually fly. So these wings help them bounce and help them change directions. There's right in the grass, ostrich eggs. They're the largest bird eggs go along with the largest bird. Each one of those ostrich eggs weighs around 3 pounds, which is the equivalent to 2 dozen chicken eggs. They can also withstand the weight of a human.
A weight of a human.
Looks like we're getting close to being back at the village. We're going to pass by the warden's post here shortly, which is a great example of how both humans and animals can work together.
Alright, now here in just about a couple seconds, should be able to see some goats.
Through their milk and dairy products. These goats are very sustainable. They don't require a lot of space. They're also very playful and friendly. The males will often do play behaviors such as headbutting or clamming, which will help them mature a bit faster, help them establish dominance in their groups, and it's a way for them to say hello. In the center of that warden's post, that yellow structure, that's a beehive replica, part of a conservation project here at Disney called the Elephants and the Bees Project. Our conservationists, they discovered that elephants tend to run from bees. So in order to prevent those elephants from eating their crops, they would take beehive fences around their farms. I did mention before that those elephants, they eat around 300 pounds of food a day, which can really hurt a farmer's crop. So with those beehive fences, the farmers, they can continue to grow those crops, and the elephants, they found new farms of food. So it really worked out great for both the elephants and those farmers. You guys can support conservation projects just like the Elephants and the Bees project by donating to the Disney Conservation Fund. 100% of those proceeds do go to conservation, and for your donation, you can get a conservation hairpin at any of the branch locations in Animal Kingdom. Now, unfortunately, our journey here is coming to an end. But I do encourage you guys to join us here again on the reserve sometime. As no two safaris are the same. Sometimes there are animals to see out there that we didn't quite catch us around. And if you'd like to see some more animals here in Africa, definitely recommend checking out Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. They're right as you exit, about a 20-minute trek, and you can see the eastern lowland gorilla. But once again, friends, my name is Destiny. I've enjoyed having on my safari today. Here in Harambe, we do not like to say goodbye because it's far too sad and far too final. Instead, we say Kwaherini, which means to go well. So Kwaherini, friends, hope you all go well, go wild, go read a different out there today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Alrighty, my friends, to the right, watch those hands, arms, legs, and feet. Those doors are going to open. Watch yourself as you exit. And once again, Kwaherini. And if there are any wilderness explorers, this is the Simba one.
Thank you guys for watching. With that being said, goodbye.